Just 1 second. Just want to make sure everything's correct. Hello, everybody, and welcome to hard surface sculpting with Kermaco, and welcome to ZBrush Live. I have you, if you're watching live, for the next couple hours, and yeah, so we're going to continue on the thing we're working on, but real quick, if anybody can let me know if you can see my screen, see me, hear my voice. If everything is working right, we'll go ahead and get started. And while somebody is letting me know about that in the chat, like, subscribe. Definitely, if you find this video useful, the least you can do is click on like. If you like this kind of content, if you subscribe to the ZBrush Live channel, then you will see me and many other artists showing off different ways that you can use ZBrush. So you can leave a comment if you want to, and also if you want to ask questions, you can during the stream. If you're watching this after the fact, we do have this on YouTube after the fact. If you are watching this after the fact, please, if you have questions, you can leave them in the comments. Hopefully somebody will get back to you. And if you don't want to wait, you can always tune in and ask your question while there's a stream going on. And we're all good about answering those questions. And if it's hard surface related, then wait for mine. Okay? So I'm still waiting for somebody to type in the chat that you can hear me okay. I think there's a little bit of a delay, so I'm just giving it a few more seconds here, and I can remove this button here, and I will entertain you folks a little bit with this puzzle, right? So I don't know if you're paying attention, but the biggest kind of thing online is asking whether a gorilla can be beaten by 100 men. And of course it would have to be 100 men, because no woman would be stupid enough to do something like that. If it was a woman, it'd be Jane Goodall, and she'd figure out a way to communicate and get to know the gorilla, whereas men would be like, well, how many of us will it take to take this gorilla down? Anyway, so looking at this kind of stupidity, I decided to join in a little bit, and I thought, okay, well, how easy is it to create a scene with the setup? So I went into ZZoo, which is ZBrush's zoo or stable of animals, and looked for gorilla, and rightfully so, there is one. So I loaded that. And then I just used my kind of really simplistic base mesh here that I have. And I used array mesh to generate the people. So I just put one person down and then used array mesh to generate the number of people. And then I just created this really simple scene. And I don't know, if things go rough, I will come back to this. But this is not what we're working on, of course. This is what we're working on, which is this mech over here, which I did get a chance to play around with a little bit, but not too much over the last few days. And, oh, I didn't mean that to happen. And we'll get into all that later. Where is my webcam? There it is. All right, we're getting there. I still haven't heard from anybody. I'm hoping you can hear me okay, and I'm hoping you can see my screen okay. You should be seeing this mech on the screen, and also you should be hearing my voice. I think my mic is set up where it's supposed to be, so let's go ahead and do a quick check. I apologize that I have to do this every time, but when we're doing these streams, it's just one person, it's just me. Usually more professional podcasts and streamers usually have a point they can check with before they go on live, but unfortunately I have to trouble somebody to type in whether you can hear me okay, and if my voice is coming through okay and everything is working correctly. All right. So I guess there are quite a few of you on here. I don't understand why nobody is chiming in. Everybody's like, I'm just watching this on my TV, or I don't feel like opening up the chat, or maybe all of you are struggling and running to do it and doing it at the exact same time and the system doesn't know how to deal with it. Who knows? But I'm still waiting to hear from anybody that you can hear me okay and see my screen. Let's go to basic material here, and don't know what the deal is with this border, so I will, is this flatten? No. All right, let's go ahead and I'm just going to go ahead and hide this scenery here. All right, so we just have a bunch of shy people still not saying anything, and if let's see, you know what would be nice is in this system where I see the chat, if there would be like the 3 dots of me knowing that somebody is typing something. All right, so I don't know why I'm getting this weird kind of effect on the material here. Let me go ahead and set the rendering to just normal, and also yeah, it's pretty weird. I think maybe it's about the size of my document too, so let me just go ahead and do document. Let's go ahead and make the document, where are you, W size, new document, no, document double, yes, and AA half, and draw this out. All right, much better. I think it's just the angle of the shadow, maybe, I don't know. All right. Oh. All right. Of course, you will have to have a name that is politically incorrect, but the person whose name starts with W and ends with a K. Can you hear me okay? I just want to make sure. If you could type that in the chat, that would be great. I guess you're on YouTube. I don't know how many people I'm getting on Twitch. I haven't gotten too many Twitch users lately, which is interesting because I started streaming on my own every other Friday. So one Friday I'll do the stream here on ZBrush Live, and the other Friday I'll just do the stream on Twitch, and then put it on YouTube afterwards. I don't have the means to do it automatically. It's just an extra expense that I don't really have the funds for right now, as things are pretty tight. But it takes me a few extra steps, and while I don't have funds, I do have time, so I will make the effort to do that. Okay, all right, cool. So you can hear me okay. Thank you so much for responding, and all you other people there that did not respond, learn and watch from the person whose name starts with W and ends with a K. Oh, don't worry. You don't have to apologize. I love it. It's great. It's a great name. I just wish the rest of the world was politically incorrect enough to be okay with it as well. All right. All right. So today we're just going to continue to work on this. And if you guys missed it, I also am going to jump back and forth between this and the 100 men versus the gorilla problem that I am illustrating here. All right, so I guess every about 15-20 minutes I'll take a break and do that. So I did a few things here. I don't know, I'm kind of going back and forth on the shield in the front. In one way it looks good, but in another way I think it's kind of, you know, I don't know if like these legs will be able to swivel and whatnot. And watching what real life robots are doing nowadays, you know, having a 360 degree here at the center, at the torso, I think is vital. So I'm going to move this up to here, and instead of having it cover the entire area, and also maybe duplicating it. And putting it down here as well. I mean, I don't know if I'm going to be keeping the same one. Let's see if it helps if I turn it upside down and make it narrower. Because again, the whole point of this thing is that it is very well protected, and its job is to basically do bodyguard work. Oh, that's interesting. How did that happen? Alpha off. And see here, I just made this smaller, which is not what I should have done. Also, maybe let's turn symmetry on this. I'm going to delete this one. And all right, so the thing that's going on in here that's kind of disturbing is that it's, you know, like I didn't flatten this part out. So there's a little bit of an indentation, which actually could be a good thing. What if I go outwards instead of inwards? Let's see what that becomes. And also, I'm going to delete this edge loop. I wish I could delete this one too, but I can't. And let's see if that looks interesting in any way. Nope. All right, so then the solution is to remove all this topology inside here, and the best way to do that is to start collapsing some things. So collapse an edge. Let's collapse this one, this one, this one. All right, continue collapsing. This one doesn't want to collapse. This one will. But this one, this one, this one. Okay, it's struggling with these ones. Let's see, this one, no. At some point I collapsed this one, which I didn't really want to do. Right, you, nope. Right. All right, so I guess a good thing to do would be to just delete this edge loop. And just going to delete an edge here. These guys, that's going to not be okay. It's almost easier for me to recreate this thing than jumping through all the hoops I'm jumping through. But it's a good exercise, and it helps me kind of figure out topologically. It's kind of a puzzle to solve in a way. Right. Well, it looks like I'm making things worse. So I'm just going to do this a completely different way, where I'm just going to get rid of, let's turn double on, get rid of these faces over here, delete hidden, and then I'm just going to go ahead and extrude these edges. Do I even want to go further? I do. I'm just going to delete this poly loop here, like so. This one too. And I'm just going to build this thing back up. Extrude. Mesh border. Okay, and then I want this to be perpendicular. All right, perpendicular isn't going to work. Let's do planar angle. Well, it's not going to work either. Let's just go free angle. Right. That's okay. Then I'm just going to mask these guys. Again, all this would probably go a lot faster if I just do it from scratch. But it's also fun to know how to solve problems this way. All right. And being a concept designer, my job is to solve problems. So the more practice I get, the better I get at it. All right. Okay, so there's that. Let's just make sure it's planar again. And then let's do that extrude one more time. Extrude, mesh border. And let's do free sides, extend sides. Nope, just do free sides, planar angle. All right, that's good. And then I just do this to it. All right, and then I just have to extrude again, but this time I want it to be, let's see if perpendicular will work now. Yep. All right, and now I just need to close it up. It looks like I've got, all right, so the best way to do this is just to bridge these two edges. And I'm going to turn symmetry off for this for now. 1, 2. Okay, and let's do this one as well. 1, 2. And now I just need to put an edge loop in the middle. Insert single edge loop. Let's turn half on. I don't know why it's not on by default. It should be. And I think that should weld the points. A good way for me to check would be to press D. And of course it didn't. So I just have to manually do that. I'm just going to see if this will do it. Maybe close that, do that. Maybe increase the weld distance a little bit more. Still too far, huh? Right, let's go. That'll do it. Okay. All right. Let's bring this back to about 1. And let's open this up just for kicks. Okay, so I think, you know, long story short, I did all that to get to where I am, but I do have what I wanted, and I want this not to be this fat. And yeah. Do want the bottom to be straight. I think this is good enough. I just want to move this down to about there. And I want to just duplicate this, another version of it. That'll go down here for now. And I don't really need it to be this wide. So I am going to, again, do this. And I'm going to slide these bottom points. Again, I'm just using ZModeler. All right, so we're 20 minutes in and nobody has asked whether ZBrush is good for hard surface. Come on, guys, what's going on? Because every time I do the stream, almost every time somebody's like, well, you know, is ZBrush the right tool to use for hard surface? I don't know if they sound like that, but it's my stream, so I can decide to make them sound any way I want. Right, and I'm going to split the mask points. I have 2 different ones here, and let's just kind of stick with this for now. And I'll see if I want to make changes to it later on. Okay, so let's see. Again, this is all just refine at this point. Let's go back over to this tool, solo it out. Let's see if we can make some things work better here. I can already see there's extra polygon here that could be removed. It looks like there's some weird stuff going on over here as well. And that's just with the dynamic subdivision, and I think that's just because of the triangles. I think it would be okay if I stitch this to here, and maybe even stitch this to here. No, that was fine. All right, so let's see what we can do. So I just basically will go part by part and start refining them a little bit more. I haven't really done much with the legs here. All right, nobody's saying anything. There's quite a few of you watching, so what is going on? Well, since you guys aren't really saying much, maybe I'll just turn the music on. Maybe this is not going to be a dialogue-oriented stream. Again, this is just kind of coming together. I do have a reference sheet up, but I'm not really, I look at it every once in a while just for some ideas here and there, but I pretty much have it in my head as to what I want to do with this. So I'm just kind of doing the things that I wanted to do. So I'm just going to, actually instead of doing this, I'm going to do the bevel so that I can get a consistent I guess I'll just insert the edge loop first. There. And I'm just going to bevel this. And if I just tap once, it bevels it the same size, which is what I want to do. And I'm just going to Q mesh this poly loop in. Do the same here, and let's create bevels in these corners. It's easy enough to do. I don't know if I want to do that just yet. I guess I'll just wait. It's very hard for me to not start getting into tertiary forms, but I want to try and stay true to secondary forms first, and then start adding detail after. And that's a really hard thing to do. When I used to teach, it used to be one of the biggest things I'd have to teach my students. In my mind, I'm just thinking at some point somewhere in a job, my student will remember it and it will save their lives or save their job because they remembered to do the right thing and didn't waste time and got their project done on time. And yeah. I don't know. I always wonder how many of my students are still using ZBrush, because a lot of my students at all the different schools used other tools as well. So ZBrush was just one of the tools they were learning, and some of them tended to be a little bit more into the sculpting aspect of it, and some of them just wanted to learn it because they thought it would give them a advantage in a job that they are applying for if they know it as well. And that's fine. I find in VFX that very few people use ZBrush, and the people that do use it for organic stuff, which is a shame because it does so much. There are a few that use it for non-organic stuff, but most of the companies that I've worked with or talked to or consulted with, they mostly just want ZBrush for doing organic stuff. And as much as I tell them there's other things that it could do and it could be useful or whatever, I think sometimes it's very difficult to fill a cup that is already full. And most of the time it's full of the brown stuff. And I don't mean coffee. But you know, that's how it works. You really love swivel edge loop in ZModeler. Oh, here we go. Nika, I don't know if you're messing with me or if you just said that because I was joking about it. Let me know, because if you really want me to answer that question, I can. I've had a lot of practice, and if you're serious about it, or if you're not serious about it, that's fine. So swivel, edge loop, swivel. Swivel, you mean spin? Like this one? I don't know what you mean by swivel. Maybe you might want to elaborate. Okay, there's that. I think that's good. Let's bring everybody else back. Let's turn off polyframe. All right, I think I want to do a plate down here. So let's see if I can peel it off of this over here. Probably not. All right, so I'm just going to add an edge loop over here. God, that new thing that they added, which is the edge loop that snaps to the center, it's so good. And I'm talking to them, trying to convince them to make it the default. So the default should be, like if you, right now the way it works is if you drop an edge loop, you know, the default is snap off, right? So wait, yeah. So default is insert, single edge loop, and snap off. And snap off means it doesn't snap. It doesn't mean it's going to snap off, you know, like, anyway. So then you just basically going to add your edge loop. But if you hold control down, if you start drawing your edge loop and hold control down, you can start tapping control to cycle through the different modes, right? So if you tap, you know, it's basically, right now it's at quarter, and so it will go from snap off to half to quarter to third, and then go back to snap off. And that's what control does. And honestly, I don't know people that are going to need to cycle through it. I think what people would rather do is just have it snap automatically, and if they hold control, then it frees it up. So I think that's kind of a better UX. But you know what? What I think matters only if what they think aligns with it. So I'm sure they have people looking into it, and maybe they'll do it. I highly doubt that they will, though. I think this is what we will be stuck with, but you know, I've been surprised before. All right, I don't know why this is inwards. Like, let's see what's going on over here. Oh, no, that's not good. So what happened was when I was adding this, somehow it decided to snap to the edge over there, and I'm glad I saw that. You know, it'd be one of those things where if I didn't notice it, then further down the line I'd be like, why is that there? Right, let's see what's going on here, if this actually is working. Let's turn transparency off. It is not working. That's because these plates are too thick. All right, so let's just Q-mesh these inwards. That didn't solve my problem. All right, so I'm going to do this a different way after all that. And the way I'm going to do this is I'm just going to take these and duplicate them and just resize them to fit where I need them to be. Something like that. Right, so I like how they are. Is it in the back too? No. All right, so I'm just going to mirror and weld this in X, Y, and Z. Oh, did that not work? Oh, yeah, it won't work because it's its own thing. But does it have it in the back? No. How about mirror and weld just Z? Is local symmetry on? It is. Let's see if this works. I'm just going to do Z. X is already done. Okay. I don't know why I brought it all the way there. Not a problem. Let's move it down to here. All right. In edge options, there's swivel. All right, let's see what that is. All right, so there's this edge, edge actions, swivel. Oh, here it is. Yeah, what does swivel do? Edge swivel. Something I didn't know about. Also, what is this thing that it just added in here? See, now I'm curious as to what swivel does. Want half insert edge loop, just insert multiple edge loop. Yeah, that does work. In the old version, that's how I used to do it. So in the old version, if I wanted to insert an edge, I would go to edge, insert multiple edge loops, and then I'd just bring this down to one. And that still works and it's great, right? You know, if you just start with the sometimes if you do this though, you're not going to be able to add an edge loop. So what I'm mentioning is that if you do single edge loop and you have it on half as default and then control to kind of do the snap off option, I think from a UX perspective, for me at least, that would be ideal. Now that's not something I can customize. They would have to do it themselves at Maxon, which I don't know if they're going to do or not, but I will definitely suggest it. But I'm still kind of curious as to what swivel does. So I am going to look it up because now you've got my curiosity on a feature of ZBrush that I haven't used. And there isn't that much of it for me. There isn't that much I don't know about ZBrush. I pretty much know a lot about it, but that said, I also do there always are things that I don't know about, so I'm trying to go in here and figure out what swivel does. ZModeler. All right, swivel edge loop, ZModeler. All right, I'm just looking at this quick thing of what it does. All right, so there's a cube. It's probably explaining what it does. All right, let's go. Oh my God. You know, for people that make instructional YouTube videos, like, you know, if you're doing like short videos explaining something, like spend the least amount of time doing other things. Okay, so there's swivel edge. Okay. All right, okay, yeah. There it is, and sorry, you just basically pushed my curiosity to find out what this does. All right, so far he hasn't said anything. Oh, I see what it does. Oh. I'd be curious to know what you use it for. If you find it useful, try the edge loop from the edge closer to the selected. Oh, all right. Yeah, I guess I never really had a use for it, so that's why I don't know about it, but I can definitely see it being useful for sure. All right, so here's an example of what I was talking about earlier. I've added a bevel around here, and what I just determined is I wanted to make these a bit thinner. Let's turn local symmetry on. And to make these thinner, that's going to mess up that bevel, right? This bevel that's going around is not going to be even anymore. But it doesn't really matter here, but in other situations it could have. And I should have not done that before. All right, so I'm still kind of trying to get the right shape for these guys. Once again, I'm messing with the topology here on a decision I've made later on in the design process. And what you want to do while you're designing is make these decisions as early as possible so that you don't encounter some of the issues that I could be encountering here, but I think I might be able to get away with it still. So there's always so much you can get away with. I'm going to go ahead and ask. Right, there's certain things you can get away with more or less. Like I just got away with what I just did. But there are times where you can't. Okay, so I'm just going to try and do that here too. I just want these to be a little bit more that's weird. We've got the bottom working, but the top is not. And they're no longer symmetrical, so I can't do what I did before. So I have to do it in a very conspicuous way, which is not that big of a deal. Let's see if I can use the swivel to solve this problem. Swivel, edge loop. It's doing something interesting, just not what I want it to do. Which is what every AI artist says. It's doing something interesting, it's just not what I want it to do. Um, yeah, I think that's the biggest problem with AI is that it does interesting stuff, but it's still not doing what I want it to do or other artists want it to do. It's still pretty cryptic. All right. Oh, for folded garments. I can see that. I can totally see that. And as a matter of fact, we'll go ahead and go to our, it's about time, go to our problem here and see if I can use that. Okay, I don't really have garments here, but I do have a floor grid. Let's go ahead and choose that. And let's go ahead and use swivel on this. See if it works. Swivel edge. All right, we're adding a little mountain here on the side. So do nothing for this. So yeah, apparently a gorilla fighting 100 men is the thing. I hold fast that people from the future will definitely be looking at us and going like, they've had all this amazing technology and all they want to figure out is stuff like, is this dress blue or gold, or if yeah, I think I know what you're saying, and I'm kind of, let's see if there's a, it's always interesting when people bring stuff up like that. Thank you for doing that, Nika, because I want to load a project. Let's just load a tool here. Is there anything with garments? Is there a demo soldier? Yeah, there's a demo soldier here. Come on down. All right, there he is. And demo soldier has garments. He's got a shirt. All right, so let's go ahead, and I'm just going to do something really kind of haphazard here. I'm going to use the slice mesh and for this, and I'm also going to use slice mesh for edges for now. And slice mesh is really nice. It's kind of the closest, oh, is there subdivision levels to this thing? Yes, delete lower. Okay. It's the closest thing to cutting edges that ZBrush has, right? So I'm just going to go ahead and remember to hit spacebar. Let's say I want to do some folds over here like this. Right, and I'm just going to go ahead and go to the swivel. And let's go ahead and go to edge loop here, and let's see what we can do. Yeah, see? Push this in and push this one out. Interesting. Yeah. I mean, I don't know why I would use swivel to do this, where I could just use move, but I can see your point. Because it kind of turns it around. I can see that. I can see it. All right, yeah. And if you subdivide this, you get nice folds. All right. Nicely done, Nika. You taught me something new, and I greatly appreciate your doing that. Nice. So if you want to do it topologically, of course, if you want to do it just by using the daemon standard tool or something like that, you can, and then retopo after that. But yeah, I think that's a good idea, especially if you're doing low-res work. So who will win? I think women will win, because it's going to be 100. It's going to be 100 men versus a gorilla, right? So 100 men versus gorilla. So, interestingly enough, if you visualize it, I mean, I think, a gorilla is about that big. This is what 100 men looks like. It would be hard for the gorilla, to be looking at all these people and thinking, yeah, I can kick their butt. I think the gorilla is going to be in survival mode. So, you know, and also I don't think the men will line up like this. They're probably surrounded or whatever. But I think that the gorilla is stronger, but there's more men. And it also, you know, the men are not all going to be equal. They're going to be more brave ones, more stupid ones or whatever. But anyway, as these things are duking it out, women are like, you know, thinking more along the lines of like, how can I shack up and kind of be in the midst with the gorillas and understand them and communicate with them instead of figuring out how to fight them. So I think women are the winners in that equation. Neither the gorilla wins, nor do the people. I think the gorilla is kind of in a situation where it doesn't want to fight these 100 men. It probably wouldn't willfully want to do that. They're peaceful animals. So, you know, I think, you know, if I were to kind of rate, you know, put them in order, I think that women would win. Gorilla would be the second person that I would be rooting for, and then these 100 stupid men, you know, could probably, like, you know, if they weren't fighting the gorilla, they'd probably be fighting themselves. Or maybe that's what the gorilla would do. The gorilla would like give them a reason to fight each other. By the way, I have these lined up like this, but I can also, I think this would be a good kind of time to talk about that. So for the guy, right, I'm using array mesh. So I just only have one guy here, and it's a pretty low res guy, but I'm going into array mesh, right? And I've got 2 layers of arrays, and I'm going to, you know, they're over here. So there's stage 1 and stage 2. Stage 1 is the guy like going 10 this way. So there's 10 of them going in the, what direction is this? In the, I guess I'm not seeing, I should bring up the floor. Yep, in the X direction, right? So there's 10 of them in the X direction. And then once there's 10 of them, I add another transform stage over here, and that adds the rest of them, adds the ones in the back. Okay, but I can also do them encircled, but there's also even a better way to do this where they'll be more random, right? So I'm going to turn array mesh off, so I just have this one poor guy who's going to be fighting these this gorilla. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and turn this canvas, turned off perspective, hide everything else, get this guy. And I don't really need to move him to the center, but I'm going to just for the heck of it. So I'm just going to put him in the center of the universe. Oh, the guy, not that. And snap him to, interestingly enough, it figures that that's the, right? So there he is. Okay, and what I want to do here is just with the guy, I'm going to go ahead and insert a, create an insert mesh brush. So I'm just going to go to the brush menu and say insert mesh, create insert mesh brush, and a new one. And I'm going to go ahead and create a nano mesh brush with it. Okay, so now I've got a nano mesh brush, so I could just go ahead and go to any other, well, let me bring everything back. All right, let's turn on polyframe, perspective, but polyframe, oh, it's on. Okay, so I'm going to go to this plane here, and then if I just click and drag, I'm going to drag a copy of this guy. Of course, I don't want him to intersect the floor, so I'm going to change the depth so he is something like this. Okay, and then also let's figure out the size of this guy. So I want him to be this size every time. So as I draw him out, I will stop at where he is. Okay, so there it is. Now, instead of doing this over here, I'm going to hide the guy. I don't need him anymore. Instead of doing this, I'm not going to add him to just this square. I'm going to go ahead and say, I'm going to go ahead and go to insert nanomesh here. Yeah. And I'm going to say insert nanomesh to all polygons, right? And then here is the guy. On every polygon. Now, of course, I don't want this many, right? So I just go to nanomesh here, the nanomesh menu, right? And then I can do some things here. First of all, the number, right? So where is that? I have a Z rotation. I'm going to turn that to 0. So it's just zeroed out. There they are. And the size is 1.34. I guess let's do 1.3. Okay, I think that's the original guy's size. Let's bring him back just to make sure. Yeah, more or less. I think that's about right. It's a little bit bigger. All right, let's go back to here. Let's go back to nanomesh. And let's go to 1.25. Oh, I think I went to 1.25. Right, there we go. Okay, so there's that guy, and we're good there. And then the next thing we want to do here is we want to have the number be less. And the way I'm going to do that, one way of doing it is, of course, you can choose 100 squares. But I'm just going to go ahead and use the randomness of it. So I'm just going to do random distribution here. And as I keep adding these, I think at some point it'll be 100. And I don't know if there's a way to measure the number, but I'm just going to say that's good enough. And I wish you could kind of center them in an area or whatever, but you can't. I'll let this autosave for now, for all the work we did in the other thing. And I can randomize the seed and just move them around. And the next thing I want to do here is start rotating them. Right now they're all facing that way, but I want them all to face the gorilla. So I'm going to go ahead and by the way, a way to kind of make this work better is if you make the grid smaller, they kind of come closer together, right? So this is a good way to make a kind of a crowd of people. So now they're all this way. And I can either do this where I rotate the entire plane. That's one way of doing it, and of course, or I could do it another way. So now they're kind of lined up like this. But let's add some randomization to the people. Let's say that there's a variation in length. That's not what I want. Let's say variation in height. Oh, what just happened there? I don't know why the size became smaller all of a sudden. The offset. Okay, there they are. Yeah, I don't know why the size became smaller. I think I do know why. I think it's just because when I made the grid smaller, it's kind of a creepy thing to see them kind of just get bigger like that. When I made the grid smaller, I think it adjusted the size of the people to match the grid, which is not a big deal. And then the offset, just get them above the ground. By the way, here I'm doing the more fine adjustment, which is the slider on top. Okay, so now let's add some height variation. Some of these are shorter, some of these are longer, taller, and there's going to be a short king in there. There has to be a short king in these men that are going to fight the gorilla. And then let's also do some rotation variations, right? So in the Y rotation, let's rotate these a little bit. No, it's not Y, it's actually Z here. All right, I guess it is. All right, so let's just do a little bit of random Z rotation. All right, so here we go, right? So we have more of a crowd here. This is probably how it would go down. They wouldn't get that close to it. They'd be like far away. There's my original guy too. Let's hide him. All right, so now it looks like there is more of these guys kind of lined up. It's more random. And yeah, so there we go. Now, if I want to make 100 gorillas, I would have to change this thing from this to, well, now I'm happy with this. I'm just going to go ahead and convert this to a mesh. So in a nanomesh, to get these to be a mesh, you just go over to, am I on the right thing? No. Okay, so I'll just go over here and I'm just going to say nanomesh. Where are you? There you are. And inventory and one to mesh. So now this is geometry, right? It is geometry. So now I can just go ahead and select all these people and split hidden, which is the ground plane, and then go to the ground plane and make it big again. right? So now we have the arena. And, you know, this gorilla here is, again, it's a Z-sphere rig. So if I go to it, I can actually pose the gorilla. So let's say the gorilla is like, okay, you know what? I am going to take these people on. This looks like a very peaceful gorilla, by the way. I'm trying to make it menacing. Right, so Kongify this thing. Yeah. All right. This gorilla just wants to give these people a hug. He doesn't want to fight them. He's like, let's just hug. Forget all this fighting business. All right, so there's the gorilla. Now the thing with a Z-sphere object is that he's doing the crane move. Let's turn symmetry off. He's doing like the... He's a kung fu gorilla, this guy, right? All right, so enough messing around with the gorilla. Let's go back to what we were doing before. All right. Folding, okay. I use it for folding open borders, shirt, hand, sleeve, open border. Okay, yeah, I see what you're saying too. That will work. All right, so here we go. We've got the gorilla in the kind of the Karate Kid kind of thing, saying "Come at me, bro," and there are these 100 bros here that are just going to attack it soon. So we'll just leave the battle to later on. Let's go back to what we were working on and continue to build up this mech. All right, so right. I'm still on that ZModeler brush, adding people to this mesh. All right, let's turn symmetry on for this, and let's just continue to work on these legs. I kind of want to create a piston here, so I'm going to in a minute go to my kit bash kit, which I should also kind of advertise in a minute. So let me do that now. We're at kind of the half-hour point. And yeah, so I think a lot of you might be curious to know what I do and where these come from and all that good stuff. And of course, I need to find the window that all this is in, and I think it's right here. Okay. All right, so if you want to find out more about me, well, most important thing is definitely follow me on Instagram. Right here, just go to it's instagram.com/Kermaco. It is in the notes of the stream, so you can do it after the fact if you don't want to do it now. This is a good way to kind of look into the things that I'm doing. This motorcycle was what we worked on last season in the stream, and this is just a render of it. I've got a few renders, and it's also, if you're installing the new ZBrush 2025.2, I think is the latest one. This will be in the installing script, so that's what we worked on last time. But I've got a whole bunch of interesting stuff here that you guys can check out. So definitely follow me. Every time I post something new, it'll be on here. This is a thumper from Dune that I've actually made using the my kit bash kit, which here's the day it launched. So here's the link to it as well. But basically, the thing about it is all you got to remember is my Instagram. And from there's a link tree that will link you to everything else of mine, right? So you can see my portfolio if you click on the portfolio here, and you can see some of my works, or you can go in and watch my Gnomon workshops. And I've got one where if you're interested on how I do my process, this is the one where I basically design this mech. And I go all the way from VR, working in VR to design it, to building it out, loading it into ZBrush, loading it into Substance Painter, loading it into rendering it with Keyshot in this case, and also massaging it in Photoshop afterwards. So it's a really good one. This is another really great tutorial that I've done, which is for 3D scan and read topology of human beings and creating digital doubles. So again, the link to those is in my link tree. And the Gumroad is where my products are. And if nothing else, definitely download this 17 Core Primitives IMM brush. It's free. And it just gives you these free primitives that you can just basically use an IMM brush to put them on. Now, I know ZBrush comes with its own primitives IMM brush, but the difference is that this one has polygroups, and also the spheres are, or the cylinders are quadded. They don't have that pole. Spheres are quadded, and they are true spheres. They're not polyspheres. So it's a really helpful thing. I use it all the time, and I thought I'd make it available. If you do find this great, or if you do need these extra parts, you can opt to buy the Pro version, which has 36 primitives. And you can see here that in addition to the basic ones, there are these extra ones which could be super helpful as well. Again, all polygrouped, all quadded, and I use these all the time as well, but most people won't, so that's why I made it a separate thing. And then, of course, the latest thing I released was this 135 cylinder Pro primitive set. And this kit bash kit basically gives you all these cylinders, and we're going to use that in the rest of the tutorial to make all sorts of cylindrical shapes. These are all topologically sound, all polygrouped, very easily. You can UV these very easily because of the polygroups are there. You can just UV by polygroup, and it will create great UVs for you right off the bat. Most of them are low res. The blue ones are low res, and the yellow ones are high res, right? So this was initially introduced at $20, but for a promotional period, and now it's gone to $24.99. If you're interested, you might want to follow this. I might have a sale every now and again, and I will be adding more to this as well. Right, and then besides that, you can go to my ArtStation, my YouTube channel, and my YouTube channel is where you will see my other streams. So the other stream that I did was a dragon, and these are not on the Pixelogic, or sorry, the Maxon channel, but they are on my own channel. And again, I'll be doing my next one next Friday. So this is more organic stuff. I just wanted to make a dragon, and that's what it's going to be for a while until I move on to something else. It's seasonal, just like this one is. So again, just remember my Instagram, remember my link tree, and you're all set. And the only thing you need to remember is Kermaco, Kermaco, and it's just instagram.com/Kermaco. Right. Enough of advertising, back to working on this. All right, so the cylindrical kit comes like this. So you can either load it in as a brush, which I have over here, or you can load it in as a project. And if you load it in as a project, you can just click on expose, and it will show you all the different parts. Here they are in their glory. And now all I'm going to do is create a kind of a piston shape. So I'm going to just go ahead and not use this way of doing it, unfortunately, because in the way what I want to do, it'll make more sense to just use the brush. And I'm just going to go ahead and load the brush. And once I do, then they will appear over here. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger so I can see what I'm choosing here. And I think I'm going to start with a basic shape. Let's say I'm going to start out with this one right here. If I press W for move and click on it, then it will just basically replace whatever is here with that. And I'm going to rotate that this way and put my gizmo in the center. Now, since these are topologically sound, I'm going to make this smaller just to get more screen space. I can just very easily just select this, make this longer, right? So I'm just going to make a piston shape. So there's going to be this part here, which basically is the part that the piston goes into. And then for the inside part, I'm going to choose something else. I'm going to choose this one. So I'm just going to go to subtool here and insert. Let's go down to 8. I'm going to go ahead and insert a Polymesh 3D. Right, there it is. And for that Polymesh 3D, I am going to choose this one. Right, and then just make it a little bit thinner. Again, all this will work because it's all topologically sound. I'm just going to select this part, make this longer, and move this whole thing down like this. Make it a bit thinner. Again, all this is going to work really well just because of the topological soundness of the parts. Okay, and then mask these. I don't know if I need this to be that protruding, so I can just make it smaller. Again, since the topology is good, it's all going to work. The bevels are going to work. It's all going to work while I'm doing this. All right, so there is this. And everything dynamically subdivides nicely too. So I just did dynamic subdiv on the top one. All right, that's good. And now I want to add some more interest to this. So I'm going to add one of these shapes. So again, let's append Polymesh 3D. I'm going to append a few just because it'll be easier just to do that, and press W. Let's choose this one. I know where it is. I can always unify. There it is. And then make it smaller. Rotate it this way. Again, this will work just because it's good topology. And then make this smaller. Okay. I think I want this to be a little bit bigger. Okay, and I'm going to duplicate that using Control, and then just have one on the other side like this. Okay. And then see whether there are shapes I can add to it. Maybe add one of these guys. I should do a stream where I make a lightsaber with this kit bash kit. It'll work really nice. But I want to get some rings here. Let's do this one. All right, let's pick that. W, that guy. Again, size it comes in, I don't know what it is, so Unify always gives it to you the right size. Let's do that. All right. Now I don't really want the inside part. I'm going to press D for dynamically subdividing this. And what I don't want this to be, I just want this to be kind of like a feature, because I can go ahead and make it a different color and it would look cool. What I'm trying to do is just select these and make this part longer like that. Again, easy to do just because this is a really good topology. And then I'm just going to make a copy of this, rotate it around, and put one over here. And these are just going to be there just to be a different color. And as a matter of fact, I'll just do that right now and make them a different color so I can kind of see what that would look like. And that's kind of nice here. And this part, I'm just going to rotate around. this because I kind of like this little bit of a lip there, and I want that on the bottom too. So what I'm going to do is just solo this out. And again, since it's good topology, if I mirror it, it's going to work great. So I just want this on the bottom. So I'm just going to move my gizmo there, go to symmetry and mirror and weld Y, and just do that. Is it on local? Let's just say yes. Okay, did what I wanted it to do. Perfect. Done. All right. Let's see what that looks like. Right, so that's basically going to give me that little bit of a nice specular over there. And that's basically it. So this just kind of is a push in and out kind of thing. It's not a swiveling piece. But I can create a swiveling one as well. So I just want to create this as one piston. And let's add one more part here. I don't really need any of these kind of parts. There's just so much. It's an embarrassment of riches. I don't need any screws on it. But let's add an interesting mesh shape. Again, I'm going to make these bigger. But let's add a mesh shape that looks like, let's add one of these guys. Yeah. Right, press D, I get that, which is kind of neat. And I want one of these to be maybe, what happened to this thing? Okay, here we go. Maybe over here, thinner. And so since this is good topology, I want it to have some depth. Right now it doesn't have any depth. So I'll just Q-mesh it. Or even better, I'll just go to dynamic subdiv. And let's bring the smoothness just to, let's leave it at 0 because I kind of like these hex shapes. But let's add some thickness to it. Maybe something like that. There we go. And where I want this to be is over here. Right, and it'd be nice if this was wider, so I'm just going to try and see if it works. I mean, it's not going to be hexagons anymore, it's going to be a longer shape, but this might work. Right, that's good, but I kind of don't like it being borderless, so I'm just going to squish this down a bit and do that. All right, so that's good. And yeah, that's looking great. I don't know if I need to do anything else with this. So I'm just going to merge all this, merge visible to one thing. There it is. And it kept the old colors, which is fine. What I'm going to do here is go ahead and just fill it all with white. And then let's choose these parts. Make it darker. Fill object. Nope. Oh, it's merged. All right, so if I control click on this, I guess it's just going to select it by polygroup. Remember, I said it's polygrouped, and I can hit the Control Shift X to grow this out. And that's all of it, right? Let's turn double on, okay. And I want that to be a darker color. Let's bring everything back. And then I also want to take this guy over here, which I think the problem is that I don't know if it kept the depth of it. Did it? No. All right, not a problem. I'm going to delete this, okay. And here I'm just going to go back to where I had these guys. All right, so I did do dynamic subdiv on this thing, but I should just apply it. As a matter of fact, I'm going to do dynamic subdiv and apply on all these. This one I don't need to. I think this is fine. This is fine too. What about these guys? Yeah, this one I do need to dynamic subdiv, smooth to apply. Okay, that's good. I could have just divided it twice, but that's okay. All right, I think that's everything. This one, I don't think I dynamically subdived it. Nope. Okay, so now I'm just going to go ahead and say merge visible again. And then that should give me a new merge tool, which is this one. I'm going to delete that one. Okay. Go back. All right. And merge visible. It says weld. I don't want to weld it. It doesn't have UVs. Merge similar, merge down, merge visible. All right, let's see what we get. All right, so now I just have to adjust the colors, which is easy enough to do. I'm going to do it differently. I'm going to take this one and this one. I'm going to make my life easier here by doing select rectangle. There it is. So right, and then these ones I'm going to make just the normal color, and then this one, let's make it the different color, and here and then these ones. Notice here that I kind of messed up. Select these guys, Control Shift A, invert that selection. Hide that. And I think I can still hide this as well. Yep. Right, so then here I'm going to take this whole thing and make it a different color, like a really darker color. Fill object, and then I'm going to fix this middle part because somehow I inadvertently shifted it downwards. So I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this. Mask this, bring everything back, invert the mask. Ooh, I have those bottom edges still selected. Not good. All right. Easy fix on the top. Not so easy fix on the bottom. So the way to do that is I'm just going to select this. Shift A. Let's mask this. All right. The best way to do this is just to do this. Just remove the mask. Select a tiny bit of this. Control Shift A selects the whole thing. And I'm going to mask it. Bring this over. Flip that mask. And now I can adjust this. All right. And there it is. It just needed a little bit of a shift. All right. So now we're good. And this is what the piston looks like. Awesome. And it's just one shape. And I'm just going to copy that, go to my mech. Right. And paste. Let's unify this so it's here and turn transparent on. And let's say we're going to put these in different locations. And again, since it is topologically sound, I can do all sorts of manipulations with this. So for example, if I want it to be fatter, like I want it to be a fatter tube, that works, right? If I wanted to be thinner, it also works. And yeah. And of course I can always resize it or change it to what I need it to be. Right, so let's say this goes this way over here. Looks like I'm really offending this robot by putting it there, so I'll move it over. And let's do that. What does the gizmo joint option do in the bottom of the UI? Gizmo joint. Where is that? Gizmo joint, gizmo joint, gizmo joint. You mean is it a button here? Oh, this one right here. Okay, so this is from Ryan's Tools, which is a plugin you can download for ZBrush. And basically, I think it moves the gizmo to the center of the mask border. It's great for bending joints. So like if you, let's go ahead and choose, I don't know, let's go back to Demo Soldier here. So if you mask the finger here, let's say, just do, just manually turn transparent off. Say I'm manually, I'm not on the body. If I manually mask the finger here, like this, and I want to move the gizmo there, I just do gizmo joint, where it is. Where are you, gizmo joint? There you are. Right, it just puts the gizmo right there at the edge of where the mask is. I mean, it's useful. I don't use it much, that's why I didn't remember. I probably put it there, and sometimes I do that. I put stuff on my UI just to I didn't mask this thing properly, just to kind of try it out. And I think I was doing something where I was doing opposing, and that's why I put that there. But yeah, it's part of Ryan's Tools. I could do it again here. Gizmo joints. And it just puts it there, and then I can just, you know, do this. It's pretty useful. All right, so hopefully that explained that. I don't really need the Demo Soldier. I'm going to delete all, just to get rid of it. Goodbye, Demo Soldier. And okay. All right, and then let's just delete this one too. Okay, and let's move back to our mech. Over here. All right. So I need this thing to be shorter and fatter. Again, if you have good topology, like this kit bash kit, it's easy enough to do. So I'm just going to pop one there, like that. Make it a bit shorter. Again, something I could easily do. All right, and then I'm just going to mirror and weld that to the other side. Oh, not locally. All right, so now I've got those two over there. All right, let's see. What else should we work on? We have half an hour left. We could go back to the Gorilla Bonanza, but I'm not going to do that. I think we've done enough Gorilla action today. Unless you guys really want me to, I can. Because it's important. As the world is sinking into all sorts of uncertainty and chaos, the planet is wondering about whether 100 people or a gorilla would win. Pretty soon it's going to be like, how many employees versus an AI? How many employees can we fire if we put AI to do this job? Yeah, I definitely see like robotics being a big deal, especially AI with robotics. like if you have a, like let's say a fast food restaurant or something like that, you can you can train robots to do all the different things. And so you basically have the people working there wear suits, and AI is just training on what the people are doing in addition to videos and whatnot. Feed that into an LLM, and then you can just replace all the people working at a fast food place. And if you guys think that's not going to happen, it sure is, and it's probably going to happen very soon here. Robo-taxis are going to be a big deal. I mean, here in LA, I don't know where you guys are, but here in LA, it's the weirdest thing. So, there are things that just happen, and then it's everywhere, right? So the first thing that happened that was like that was the scooters, right? So there are these e-scooters, and you can just use your phone, and you can hire them, and then you can just get on them, and they're electric, and they'll take you someplace, and then wherever you get to where you get to go to, you just leave it there. And then somebody picks it up from there and whatnot, and then eventually a truck will come and collect all these and take them and charge them somewhere. It's only a matter of time before they they drive themselves to charging stations and charge themselves. So that was one thing where like there was none of those, right? And then there's like a million of them. And it's kind of really disruptive. It's gotten less, actually. There aren't that many of them anymore. I think the companies I think some companies went under and whatnot, but there are definitely they're there. So it wasn't a thing, and now it is a thing. And then the next thing was these little kind of four-wheeled Wall-E looking small food delivery robots, right? So like you're walking on the street, and then all of a sudden this thing is rolling towards you, right? It's just this little box with like eyes on it, and it's just delivering food, right? And like again, there weren't any of these things, and then there were 100. And then now the new thing is these Waymo cars, where they're cars that basically don't have a driver. So you're walking around, and there's this car, or you're driving, and there's this car that comes in and next to you. You look over, and there's no driver there, right? And these are just Jaguar cars that are just basically made as a test bed to do these robo-taxis, and there's no drivers. So, in addition, like Uber or whatever, you don't really need drivers anymore. You just basically have these robo-taxis, and I think those are going to be, there's going to be a lot of them. So Waymos, first they were like one or two, and it was a big deal to see one. Now it's like there's no day I go outside the house where I don't see like 10 of these things. And they're all over the place, right? And they're driving and turning and delivering their people to wherever they want to go. So that's kind of new. And soon there's going to be other companies that are going to jump on the bandwagon, and there's going to be more of those, right? Yeah. And all these basically are with AI. Right now, I think there's a human being kind of watching over 10 of them or 15 of them remotely, not in the car. And at some point they'll be autonomous, and just a matter of time until one of them kills somebody, and then there's going to be lawsuits or whatever. But these Waymos are pretty safe. I mean, it's just pretty amazing to just watch them. A driverless car driving in a city like LA, where there are a lot of cars too. So yeah. And they are, doing it. They're doing a small rollout, and then they're just rolling them out. I think Tesla has said that this is their future. I've worked on projects with Toyota where they've shown versions of these things as well that I can talk about, but I can't show. And then there are so many companies that are going to be doing this, so this is going to be a big deal also. And I don't know why I started on this topic. Now, I don't remember why I started this topic. Does anybody? If you do, remind me. But it is definitely foremost on my mind. And AI is really wreaking havoc on my industry. Like for what I do, it's really, it's making life really difficult. for people who do what I do because of two reasons. One is because a lot of the movie industry budgets are significantly less now because they're not making money. Nobody's going to the movie theaters anymore, so it's just streaming services, and there are too many of those, and they're battling it out. So there's less content being made. In addition to that, a lot of the people that are making content are wanting to have AI make the content for them, and even though it's still not delivering, they are adamantly not hiring people and telling the people that are in their jobs to get AI to do the things that the people they hire would do. So there's a lot of people in my industry and really big names, really kind of iconic people that are not working, and it's not cool. All right, so now I just brought in this part. Since again it's topologically sound, I'm going to go ahead and mirror it in Y. And locally mirrored in Y, and in that opposite direction. So let's do this. That's good, but I want this to be further down. Let's turn dynamic on, mirror and weld. Put it, where did it put it? So yeah, it's kind of a puzzling time. And even though AI is not delivering, I think people just want it to deliver really bad. All right, so here I'm kind of struggling with getting this mirrored, but since it is a well-made part, I can very easily go ahead and do this. So I'm just going to go ahead and do Control, drag a copy of it, turn it around, and I want something to be about maybe this thick. Right, and then I'm going to go ahead and select this polygroup, invert, right, delete that polygroup, delete the hidden points, let's turn double on, and what I want to do is join these two together, and which I will be able to do with the bridge function in ZModeler. Right, so bridge two holes, this edge and this edge. Oh, should be the same number. All right, there we go. It should be the same number. I don't know why it's not. But I've got a different way of doing this as well that might work better. I'm just going to go ahead and use mask polyloop. Do this one. Do this one. And invert. All right, I'm just going to bring these together like this. Right. Get these to come as close to each other as possible and just weld them. Let's see, I probably need to increase this weld distance. Weld. All right, now I got what I want. I'll add a couple of edge loops here just to support the side. So I just basically made this shape right here. And that's, again, what's really great about my Kit Bash kit is I can make these shapes. I have 135 already to start with, and I can make so many different ones. Got my neighbors being loud. Right, I'm going to turn Y symmetry on here. Z symmetry? No. That is strange. All right, that's why. Okay, now it'll work. So here I'm using another trick where I hold shift down to make this straight, because I want this to be like that. I'm just going to mirror and weld it in Y. Why is this not working? That's why it's not in the center. Let's put it in the center of the world. It's always better to work on these things where they're in the center of the world, and then mirror and weld Y. This should do it, but I should mirror it first. All right, so local symmetry. Another way to do what I was trying to do is just to do this slice. There's a lot of ways to do the same thing in ZBrush, and it just depends on which way you want to do it. I'm going to mask this so I don't mess the polygroups, and I'm just going to do this, and I have symmetry on. Let's see here. That's what's going on. It's at an angle. All right, I'll let it autosave, and then we'll continue that. Oh no, it's right. That's why it's not working. I want it to be like that. Mirror and weld Y. Okay, this is what I wanted exactly. And I've got the two shored up edges over there. And just for kicks, I'll add one more edge loop here in the middle. Insert single edge loop, half. Okay. All right, so I just have this shape now, and what I want to do here is pull out these borders. So I'm just going to QMesh poly loop. Just get a little bit of a lip like this. All right, and then let's do one more. There. All right. I just wanted an edge loop in the middle just in case I bevel it. All right, so, and well, let's copy this and take it over to our mech. And I wanted that to kind of be, let's paste it, unify it. Kind of want this to be kind of an elbow joint. Yeah, this kit's going to definitely help me with a lot of the things I'm doing. Right now I'm just going to keep it straight, but later on I will angle it with the arm. Right, and let's mirror that to the other side with that local symmetry. All right. Okay, so that's that elbow. Kind of looks weird being straight, but I'll fix it later. But what I want to do is I want to take these cylinders that I made, and I want to do a copy of them in the front. So I have to hide this shield that I made. And with these, I'm just going to use Control to create a copy. Put it over here. Do I have symmetry on? Nope. And again, I will create parts that will adjust to where these go later on. But I just wanted to make sure I had that copy there, right? And there is this piece, like that. Which this piece might not end up being there. I might end up not having that be there. But for now, it's going to be there. I want to create a platform for them. So I'm just going to solo this out. Okay, that's good. I'm just going to duplicate this using Control here, squishing it down. I'm basically just creating a platform for these cylinders to click into. There we go. Something like that. Oops. Let's get this over to Clip Curve. I think one thing that is interesting is that that a lot of things that we know and take for granted are going to change pretty quickly here, and trying to keep up with the changes is going to be really interesting. All right, I'm going to split the mass points. I don't know if I need this much. Well, it's fine. I can reduce the geometry on this thing, but I think I'm just going to leave it there. Right, again, I'm just making sure that this thing can swivel 360 degrees, the top part. And I can see, like, you know, even with adding this little piece here, that the details are starting to kind of fall into place. And all I need to do is just refine these as time goes by to get them to do what I want them to do. I've worked on actual robot models for advertisements, so I kind of know how these things are built, and you would be surprised as to split mouse points and mirror and weld X. I guess these are the same, so is this not the same? Split mouse points. I guess these ones are not the same. That's what's going on for some reason. So mirror and weld X will fix that. Here we go. Of course, it's the other way that I want it to be, but now we're good. Back to here. And I'm just basically, these are the sockets that these things go into. And again, they're just rough shapes, and they will either be sculpted into something better or replaced by other parts. But right now they're just placeholders as to where these cylinders are kind of connecting into. Right, coming together nicely. I'm really kind of itching to make some weapons for this thing, but I'm not going to. I did do some variations on the head, which I haven't decided on yet, so I'll go ahead and bring them up, see what you guys think. I thought of maybe having a head kind of like this. I haven't had another piece that goes in there, somewhere in here. Let's just do it this way. Can find it. I think it's not this one. It's this one. Here we go. So this is kind of another idea I was playing around with for the head. I want it to be a little bit unconventional, just because, you know, robots don't need to be conventional, they just need to be functional. So again, the function of this thing is defense. So it's got to have good radars, it's got to have good defenses. It's got to be able to protect its important parts. And it's not an assault, it's just for protection. I mean, it will fire back, but it's not a war robot per se. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't decided whether I like this head or not. What do you guys think? It's kind of plus looking head. And again, all this is very low poly geometry, so I can make modifications as needed. Symmetry on. Oh. Okay, single poly. Let's do this. And I still, you know, the head doesn't swivel on its own because it's all radar and camera driven. So the head doesn't need to swivel. The head stays put. This whole top part swivels. This whole part rotates, and I have to figure out how to do that. And this elbow rotates, and then I'll have another joint, another one of these, maybe over here. And something like that. That's odd. All right, so I've got symmetry on for this, but it's doing, right, so activate symmetry X, okay. Split the mask points, make this less complicated. Huh. Local is on, local symmetry, no. Oh, when all else fails, I'm going to delete by symmetry and do the mirroring again. Still moving it like it doesn't have symmetry. Right, did I just find a bug, or what the hell is going on? All right, so there's the part. It's moving it as a unit. That is so strange. Okay. I don't have local symmetry on. All right. Well, this is an interesting little pickle that I've gotten into. Wonder what I'm doing wrong here. Let's bring up the floor. Okay, that's good. If I say delete by symmetry, that works. Let's pop this. Something up here. What's up here? All right, I think there's some other parts here somehow. Delete hidden. Okay, that's not it. Okay, this is very interesting what's going on. Yeah, when I click on this, it's okay. Here we go. Now it works. That works. And mirror and weld. That is so weird. Huh. Is it because of this? No. Okay. I mean, you see the other thing being there, but it's moving it all as one piece. Now, if I go to the one on top, does it have the same issue? It does. All right. Well, that's very, very odd. I don't know if I stumbled into a bug or what the deal is, but yeah, that's pretty strange. Looks like it's doing local symmetry, but I don't have local symmetry on. Did I miss? Oh, that's what it is. Mirror symmetry was off. Okay, so if you encounter the problem I was having, okay, make sure that in your symmetry, so symmetry, this stuff here is under, where is it? It's under transform. So if you go to transform and symmetry, it's this block, which I've replicated over here, right? Make sure M is on for mirroring, otherwise it won't work, and now it's going to work just fine, right? So that was the problem. Ugh. So when I was clicking over here, I inadvertently turned M off, and that's why I had the problem. It's still not 100% of what I want this one to be. Oh, this one doesn't have the M on, see? All right, so now it works. More or less, let's just do mirror and weld. Okay, and yeah, here we go. All right, a little bit of a diversion there, but that's what happens. And I tell my students, you know, in the labs, like, hey, if you, knowing how to dig yourself out of a problem is like half the job. Because you're going to be encountering situations where things will happen and you don't know why they're happening, and you have to figure out why they're happening. It's kind of part of your job to do that. All right, so another interesting thing that's happening here is there's this weird part that is, I think it's this one. Yep, that was protruding. Okay, so now this thing is kind of coming more and more together. And to end the stream, I'm going to go ahead and do a quick render. So here, let's go ahead and bring up the props. Let's turn on perspective. Let's get a good angle. This thing's coming together. I mean, it's still not 100% there, but I think we're making good progress on it. I'm happy with what we did today. And let's go ahead and pick a kind of a tune material. Let's say, I don't know, this one, Supercomic 2025, BPR it. Okay, so there's this weird kind of thing that's happening over here, and I think I can fix it. I don't know why it defaults to it, but not a big deal. Right, so here I'm going to go to BPR shadows, and not BPR shadows, but render shadows, preview shadows. Okay, I'm going to turn that off. No, it's still there. Yeah, I think I'm just going to choose, I have a BPR material that I made a while back. I'm just going to choose that instead. Right, there it is. I think occlusion is killing it. That's interesting enough. All right, so I'm going to do one more render here. All right, that's looking good. Let's do a render from the back. And again, it's always good to kind of get an idea of what your thing will look like with shadows and, different materials and whatnot, different colors. It kind of gives you a good idea. I think this is looking okay. So I'm going to do one more render here. And I'll open it up for last minute questions before we end the stream. Just going to go ahead and choose a different material here. Let's use skin shade 4. That creates a good render too. Yeah, that's good. And while we're figuring this out, I'll go back to the gorilla problem and see what's going on with this. I'll do a render of that as well. All right, so there it is. It's just about to go down. The gorilla is ready. It's doing its Karate Kid moves. And it's just going to roll through these things like a bowling ball and just get rid of all the guys and prove to the world that the gorilla would win. All right. Okay, so nobody's asking questions. Thank you for those of you that stayed on and watched this live. I always appreciate it when people are watching this live. And please make sure to subscribe and like and do all that stuff. Leave a comment. And also, if you want to watch my stream next week, it's on Twitch. And my Twitch channel, if you guys don't remember, is again in my link tree. So you can go to my Instagram, click on link tree, and there is my Twitch channel. You can click on it. And let's see if it saved my video from last time. It did. I guess it saves it for 10 days and then gets rid of it. So it's still within that window. This will be gone, but you can always find it on my YouTube channel. Again, to go to my YouTube channel, you go to my Instagram, Linktree, and there is my YouTube channel right, where is it? Right here, okay? So yeah, I'll be on next week. I'll be working on this dragon that I was working on, so make sure you follow me there as well. I will have a schedule of events, but for now it's every Friday, so I'm either here on Maxon's channel or I'm on my channel. All right, so thanks again for watching and hope you have a good day or night or whatever time of day it is where you are. And happy ZBrushing, everybody. We'll see you next Friday if you tune in on my Twitch channel or the Friday after here on ZBrush.